Hello and welcome back to Rock Cycle. Hope you're having a good day.
Now, Shadows Like Strangers
Have just released their brand new mixtape, very appropriately named ISO. So let's get into it. First of all, another big thank you for the band's management to contact me. All the information and all that they provide is very useful for making these videos. And it also helps give me a lot of extra content to help share with you guys, so again, big thanks. So here we see Strangers Like Shadows back again, but in a way we might not have been expecting, but it's certainly enjoyable nonetheless. Here they're combining their signature alt-rock sound with the YouTube anthem of lo-fi hip-hop beats to study to. This mixtape is made from B-sides and live song interludes, which the band has restructured into more traditional song formats for this mixtape. With Jess from the band saying, it's kind of like a cache of ideas that never really made it into a song. Now I personally always really enjoy hearing the more experimental side of the band, and B-sides and the kind of music that's very different from what they normally put out. It's very different, it's very raw, and it lets us hear a lot of styles and songs from the band that we wouldn't normally hear. So even if it ends up ultimately being the kind of music that is not for you, I think at the very least it makes for an interesting thing to listen to because it is so different from what we're used to hearing from the band. So it's definitely nice to see them exploring this very different side of them. ISO is a collection of songs released with the purpose of giving us something else to focus on and something else to think about, rather than the stressful times we are unfortunately currently living in. With Paul from the band saying the premise of this mixtape is to take people away from the difficulties we face in the UK at the moment and the anxiety that leads to. Now, I always love music with a purpose. It takes it from just something that you listen to and you enjoy as a bit of like background noise to something with a lot more meaning and substance. So it really helps take it to the next level for me. And I certainly think this is a very important thing the band has chosen to focus this mixtape on. Of course, the number one priority right now is the people who are currently dying and suffering because of coronavirus and their loved ones, but that doesn't mean that mental health isn't important. I think a lot of people right now are really struggling, and it's been ignored a bit because of the main pandemic we're focusing, but it's still an important issue in its own right. So I think it's great to see this band trying to do something that's going to hopefully help some people out and bring attention to it, because I think it is a great cause. I do hope everyone out there is doing alright, and of course DMs are always open if you want to chat about anything. And even if that's an issue that doesn't affect you particularly, we can all appreciate a bit of new music. All the songs on ISO seem to seamlessly blend together to make for one continuous, enjoyable experience. But each of them stand out with their own merit because of their unique stylings and themes. Now, it's certainly a very big change up from what we know from Shadows Like Strangers. A much more relaxed sound that seamlessly incorporates electronic beats with their alt-rock sound. And at some points entirely shifts away from their rock sound towards these electronic melodies instead, in songs like We Were Lions. Vocals are quite a rarity on this mixtape, as the main focus is the relaxing melodies we have instead, and arguably if they had chosen to add too many vocals to it, it would have taken away from that. So normally I'm not that much of a big fan of instrumentals, but I think here with the purpose of the music it works quite well. A lot of the songs have toned down the energy and the attention-grabbing nature of their past songs, which again fully works here. This isn't the kind of music made to sing and dance to, it's the kind of music to put on to chill out to, or like me, put on while you're working and just have in the background. It's meant to give you a relaxing feeling with just the right amount of energy to balance it. Now, this change of styles might not be for everyone, which is an unfortunate consequence and is quite inevitable when a band changes up their sound so drastically. Now, it does seem this is a bit of a one-off, so maybe if you're not a fan of this new sound of the band, don't worry, I'm sure their next songs won't be too much like this. It's just an interesting side project that we can explore in the meantime while we're all stuck at home with not much better to do. So let's have a bit of a quick look at some of my favourite songs on the mixtape. I like the Dead Happy remix because it's always interesting to see a band restyle one of their past songs. Here we see them take a bit more of a drum and bass approach to it, with distant echoey vocals that sort of add to this surreal feeling you get to it, which all comes together to create what I could easily imagine as an underground club anthem. It very nicely contrasts the original song, and each song works in their own unique way. Escape is an enjoyable, magical, trance-like song, with both an interesting and relaxing beat to it. Where It Always Rains is another fun one. with reserved yet effective drums and guitar which carry the song, which are very beautifully contrasted by the electronic and experimental sounds used throughout. The Frankie by Neon Shotgun remix is another enjoyable one, which again sort of infuses a drum and bass style sound with their original sound of the band. So overall I found this to be a very enjoyable listen. It's been the perfect thing for me to have on in the background while I've been working on my dissertation for the past few days, or probably more often than not actually going and checking Twitter instead. Which is the perfect segue to promote my Twitter. I'm pretty active on there, so please consider following. There'll be a link to it down on the description, and also my Instagram, although I don't really use that. Especially now I've got no concerts and festivals to post about because I'm here instead. But yeah, anyway, back to the band. The band's taken quite a risk with this mixtape, really stepping right out of their comfort zone, and I think it has really paid off for them. They've been exploring these entirely different styles and genres compared to their normal stuff, and I think they've done it really well. So I would certainly be interested to see some more of this in the future, and maybe some more of this featured on some of their albums perhaps. There are lots of different things going on in this mixtape, and I think it's all combined to work out really well as one solid piece of music. But as always, I'm really curious to know, what are your thoughts about it? Let me know down in the comments. As always, like, share, subscribe, the usual YouTube shit, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.